From #1 draft pick to homeless addict to all-star MVP, Josh Hamilton's baseball career has been complicated to say the least. Every rise was followed by a fall from grace. But how close did he really come to being an all-time great? In 1999, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays thought they'd found baseball's next superstar. They were right, kind of. Now, Josh Hamlin was the real deal, a generational talent that comes along once in a blue moon. The Devil Rays snagged him with the first overall pick in the draft, and man, did he look like a steal. He was a high school phenom who transitioned seamlessly to the minors, hitting .301 with 13 homers and 61 RBIs in just 96 games for the Charleston River Dogs in 2000. He even nabbed the South Atlantic League MVP award. Hamilton was on the fast track to the big leagues, and Tampa Bay was dreaming of World Series titles. Everything was going according to plan, but things took a drastic turn for the worse in February 2001 when Hamilton and his mom got into a car accident. Left Hamilton with intense back pain that would end up derailing a lot more than just his swing. To deal with the pain, Hamilton started using painkillers, alcohol, and crack cocaine. Addiction doesn't care about your reasons or that you're a future MLB superstar. There were nights Hamilton went to sleep in strange places, his heart speeding inside his chest like it was about to burst through the skin, praying he wouldn't wake up. That's how bad it was. In 2003, he got suspended for violating the league's drug policy, and things spiraled from there. The next few years were a blur. Failed rehab attempts and missed opportunities to get his marriage and career back. Hamilton lost weight, lost his identity, and nearly lost everything. He was at his lowest when he showed up at his grandmother's house in the middle of the night after a crack binge, so messed up she barely recognized him. He broke down in front of her and started crying, asking for help, for forgiveness, praying to be spared another day of guilt and depression and addiction. He couldn't continue living the life of a crack addict. The problem was he couldn't stop either. Can you imagine that? The former #1 pick, the guy who was supposed to lead Tampa Bay to glory, standing there like a shell of himself. But Hamilton's story was far from over. In 2005, after years of struggle, he finally made the decision to get clean. It wasn't easy. It never is with addiction. But Hamilton dug deep and found the strength to turn his life around. Now came the hard part. Could he still play baseball? He had been out of the game for years. His body had been through hell. Most people would have said it was impossible to come back from that. But then again, Josh Hamilton wasn't like most people. Now, due to his situation, most MLB teams wouldn't give Josh Hamlin a second glance. The Reds took a $50,000 gamble on him in the 2006 Rule 5 draft. The Chicago Cubs selected Hamilton 3rd overall, then traded him to Cincinnati. Hamilton's return to baseball was electric. On April 2nd, 2007, he made his debut against the Cubs, and even Cubs catcher Michael Barrett acknowledged the moment's significance and his first at-bat telling him, "You deserve it, Josh. Take it all in, brother. I'm happy for you." He quickly proved he still had it. In April, he hit .333 with 4 homers. That earned him National League Rookie of the Month honors. Not bad for a guy who'd been out of pro baseball for years. On December 21st, 2007, the Reds traded him to the Texas Rangers for pitchers Edison Velasquez and Danny Herrera. This trade would be pivotal for Hamilton's career. In Texas, Hamilton became a superstar. The 2008 season was spectacular. He led the American League with 130 RBIs, finished with a .304 average, and smashed 32 home runs. But his regular season wasn't even the biggest story. The 2008 Home Run Derby was Hamilton's showcase. In the first round alone, he hit 28 homers, shattering the single-round record. By the end, he'd launched 35 balls into the stands, with 7 traveling over 500 feet. He lost in the final round to Justin Morneau, but everyone remembers Hamilton's performance as one of the best baseball has ever seen. After his record-setting Derby showing, Hamilton said, "This was like living the dream out. Because, like I've said, I didn't know the ending to that dream." Hamilton's 2008 season was legendary. He'd gone from baseball outcast to one of the game's brightest stars in just a few years. But for Hamilton, success came with dangers. The spotlight was bright, the pressure intense, and the temptations ever present. As he stood on top of the baseball world, few could have guessed the challenges that still lay ahead. Josh Hamilton's 2010 season was one for the history books. He crushed 32 home runs and 100 RBIs in just 133 games, all while hitting an otherworldly .401 against right-handed pitchers. But the real test came in October. Could Hamilton lead the Rangers to their first ever World Series? In the ALCS against the Yankees, Hamilton didn't just show up, he dominated. He hit .350 with 4 homers and 7 RBIs over 6 games, earning MVP honors and sending the Rangers to the Fall Classic. After clinching the pennant, he could barely contain himself. "I'm so excited for this team, for this city," he said. Hamilton was on top of the baseball world. He had just won the regular season MVP award and powered his team past the mighty Yankees. The stage was set for a storybook ending in the World Series. But baseball has its way of humbling even the greatest players. He struggled mightily against the Giants, hitting just .100 with 1 home run. The Rangers' bats went cold at the worst possible time, and they fell in 5 games. "We just got cold at the wrong time," he said afterward. Hamilton's 2010 was a roller coaster. He reached the pinnacle of individual success, but fell short in the World Series. It was a reminder that in baseball, nothing's guaranteed. They had tasted success and were hungry for more. And Hamilton? He was determined to prove that 2010 wasn't just luck. The stage was set for another run at glory, with the Rangers superstar leading the way. Josh Hamilton's 2012 season was a roller coaster of crazy proportions. On May 8th, he wrote his name in the baseball history with a performance that left fans and players alike in awe. 4 at-bats, 4 swings, 4 home runs. Hamilton became just the 16th player in MLB history to accomplish this feat, and he did it with style. 8 RBIs, 18 total bases, an American League record, and a 10-3 victory for the Rangers. It was the kind of night that makes you believe anything is possible in baseball. After the game, Hamilton was humbled as ever. "It was just an absolute blessing from above," he said. His teammates and opponents were equally stunned. I mean, how do you even react to something like that? But Hamilton wasn't done. He tore through the entire month of May, hitting .395 with 9 homers and 25 RBIs. Everyone was wondering if we were witnessing the start of a historic season. Baseball, though, has a way of humbling even the greatest players. After May, Hamilton's numbers fell off a cliff. It was like watching 2 completely different players in the same uniform. The season's final chapter was a bitter one for Hamilton and the Rangers. With the division title on the line in Game 162, a crucial error made by Hamilton in the outfield contributed to a devastating loss, and Hamilton's roller coaster season came to an end. As he headed into free agency, teams had to weigh Hamilton's immense talent against his inconsistency and off-field concerns. The next chapter of his career was about to unfold, and nobody, not even Hamilton himself, knew quite what to expect. One thing was certain, Josh Hamilton's future in baseball was anything but predictable. In baseball, $125 million can buy you a lot of things. For the Los Angeles Angels, it bought them Josh Hamilton, along with disappointment, controversy, and a whole lot of headaches. The Angels signed him to a massive 5-year deal, expecting him to form a powerhouse lineup with Mike Trout and Albert Pujols. World Series titles seemed just around the corner, right? But things went south fast. Hamilton's first season with the Angels was a letdown, and it only got worse from there. His numbers plummeted and he struggled to stay healthy. Then came the real bombshell. Before the 2015 season, he relapsed, using cocaine and alcohol. He self-reported to MLB, but the damage was done. The Angels were stuck with a massive contract and a player who couldn't perform on the field. The team was furious. They tried to find a way out of Hamilton's deal, but with no legal grounds to void it, they had to get creative. So they shipped him back to Texas. The Angels ended up paying most of Hamilton's remaining salary just to get him off the team. Back with the Rangers, there was hope Hamilton could turn things around. Fans welcomed him with open arms, and for a moment, it looked like he might write one last chapter in his comeback story. In his first at-bat back at Globe Life Park, he ripped a double. The old magic seemed to be back, but time and injuries were catching up. Hamilton played in only 50 games for the Rangers in 2015, with flashes of brilliance becoming increasingly rare. As his career wound down, it was hard not to think about what could have been. The talent that made him an MVP was still there, but the battle with addiction had changed everything. The $125 million question for the Angels? What if they'd never signed him in the first place? Josh Hamilton's career numbers tell an intriguing story. A .290 batting average, 200 home runs, 701 RBIs over 1,027 games are solid numbers, but they don't capture the full picture of his talent. His 2010 MVP season was otherworldly. A .411 on-base percentage, 1.044 OPS, and a .381 average against righties with 24 homers. Those were just good numbers. They were video game level performances. So why isn't Hamilton in the Hall of Fame conversation? It's all about what could have been. His raw talent was off the charts, and when he was locked in, pitchers struggled to get him out. But Hamilton's battles with addiction costed him precious years. He didn't debut until 26, and even after that, setbacks kept him off the field. Imagine a world where Hamilton stayed healthy and sober for a full career. We might be talking about 500 or even 600 home runs, multiple MVP seasons, and a legitimate Hall of Fame case. Of course, we can't rewrite history, but it's hard not to wonder. Hamilton's impact goes beyond just numbers, though. His induction into the Texas Rangers Hall of Fame shows how much he meant to that franchise during his peak, and his openness about addiction has made him a symbol of hope for many, using his platform to raise awareness about recovery. In the end, Josh Hamilton's legacy is complicated. It's a mix of undeniable talent, unfulfilled potential, and human struggle. His story reminds us that even sports heroes are just people, fighting their own battles. It's a tale of triumph and tragedy that goes beyond baseball, leaving us to ponder what might have been while appreciating the moments of brilliance we did get to witness. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.